All right, we're back. John North just checking his text messages on this Sunday morning. Mayor Jacobs, thank you for bearing with us. I'm going to let John fire away with another question.
Mayor, sure. You have addressed this topic with us before, and it's the issue of mental health. And there are a couple initiatives, I think, that have been launched, and one of them is the mental health court, which caught my ears. I'm curious about your vision for who that can accommodate, what kind of volume you're talking about, and where you'd like to see it go.
Sure. We already have a recovery court here in Knox County. I think it's vitally important. A lot of folks that end up in our detention center are not getting the services that they need, and they're actually a danger to the other inmates out there. They're a danger to our jailers, and that's an expensive way to handle this problem. It's not working, and frankly, we can do better. When we look at a mental health court, essentially it's kind of the same model, where you have folks that would be arrested for something, but you realize that jail's not the place. They have to meet certain criteria. We're not talking about felons generally here, but folks that obviously jail is not the place that they need to be, and they essentially go into a supervised course where the judge oversees, their treatment going forward. As far as volume, that's something I'm not quite sure about. That's something that the exploratory committee will work on. But as far as the concept overall, it's had a lot of success in other areas, and I think it's something that we could really use here in Knox County.
And as a related topic to that, the question of homelessness, a lot of those people, unfortunately, who are on the streets may be people who need those kinds of social services. That's also something that's been mindful to you. But we've also seen, not just in the city of Knoxville, but spreading throughout Knox County, a greater presence of the homeless. You can't have the answer for everything, but I'm sure you hear from constituents, hey, these folks are here. Are you thinking, is there anything more that should be done or can be done from your perspective?
Well, homelessness is an extremely complex and difficult issue. I talk with the sheriff about it all the time because it kind of falls under law enforcement, but then it's like, what are you going to do? You're going to fill up our jails with homeless people? That's not going to work. And again, in many cases, these are folks that need to be connected with services. So I think that there's always more that we can do. One thing that we're doing downtown here is the K-Town Connect ambassadors, who are basically ambassadors downtown for visitors coming in, but a lot of their job is actually to work with the homeless folks downtown and connect them with the services that they need. And we can do some of those things out in the county. We actually have a couple case workers down with community development, and they do work with the homeless population. This is another area, with addiction, we've seen a lot of progress made with the Knox County Church network. And we'd like to get them engaged with the homelessness issue as well, because it is a big issue. And I think that all of us, government, nonprofits, and the faith-based community, we all play a part.
All the people you just named say there is a lack of affordable housing in our community. Do you believe in the housing first model in homelessness, and that permanent supportive housing is a good solution for that? It's certainly costly.
Frankly, that has been a disaster in places that it's been tried, like San Francisco. I do not believe that that's it. I think that we need to connect people with services. And the housing first model, what we've seen is actually encourages some homelessness because it incentivizes people to become homeless so that they can have supported housing for an unlimited period of time. So I don't think that's the way to go. I think that's one of those ideas that sounds very compassionate and is good-hearted, but in the end, the results have not produced what they should have, and it's been very expensive. And if we look out in places that have tried it, we've actually seen their homelessness problem get much, much worse.
We could certainly have an entire conversation about that topic alone. I want to switch quickly to Read City USA because it's been a push of yours to get more young people reading, especially by third grade. And we saw the consequences of that just recently, where we saw a drop in the number of students from Knox County who are moving on to college. It's one that some in the education world are calling an emergency. What's your take on what's next there?
Well, if we could rewind the clock, I think that we would have handled COVID-19 differently. I think that's the major issue currently, is we have had a lot of learning loss and figuring out how to make that up, which is, again, it's a very difficult challenge. When we look at third grade reading literacy rates, those are vitally important. That's actually a very good predictor of high school graduation rates. So that's why we've decided to concentrate on that. But even when we look post-secondary, whether it's college, whether it's trade school, whether it's certifications, we live in a world now that you need technical skills in order to hold a good job. And we're just going to have to encourage our kids that, even if you're not going to go to college, you have to be a lifelong learner, because that's really the only way you're going to survive and ultimately thrive in a rapidly evolving global economy.
Knox County Mayor Glenn Jacobs, we appreciate the time, and we hope to have you back with your opponent in the upcoming election here in the next few weeks. Again, thanks for your time, and we'll see you soon.
Sounds good. Thank you.
We'll be back with more on Inside Tennessee right after this.